Okay, I just did the first live broadcast with the two hosts only. They are William Daniel Johnson from California and Mr. Barack Obama Mandela, also from California. Both gentlemen are practicing attorneys in California. Here is a picture of William Daniel Johnson. He is the chairperson of the American Freedom Party. And here is a picture of Mr. Obama Mandela. That is actually his real name. He did change his real name, and he did so to shed any linkage to the ancestry of Scottish ownership. The two gentlemen had a short discussion about race in America, and there is another discussion that will be posted next week, also very interesting. So why don't I just go ahead and cut to that now and let you...
And I am here with my co-host, Barack Obama Mandela. We have a new show called The Talk Show, and we have very interesting juxtaposition. We've got, both of us are lawyers. Barack Obama Mandela went to the oldest law school on the West Coast. I went to one of the oldest law schools on the East Coast. Mr. Mandela spent a lot of his time working in government administration in the highest levels of state government in the state of California, and I've spent my career in the private sector. I am a white nationalist, and Barack Obama Mandela is a black leader and a nationalist. So I think it'll be very interesting to hear our opposing and convergent views. So welcome, Barack. I'm glad to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. This is an interesting first segment because of all of the things that are going on around us today. And you mentioned before the show started some of these interesting and poignant topics. So I would like to turn it over to you to pick the first topic that we should discuss for our very first talk show. Barack?
Okay, let me say it's an honor to be here with William Johnson, a white nationalist. And before I make any comments, there's something I have to do. Black power, black power, black power, black power, black power. Okay, with that said, I've given, respect to my black background, my black brothers and sisters. I think one key topic is the presidency of the United States. Who should be president? Should it be Donald Trump of the Republican Party, or should it be Hillary Clinton of the Democratic Party? Before I turn it over to you, let me give my brief opinion. I think that the next president of the United States should be Reverend Al Sharpton. He's a passionate black leader. He stands up for black people. And I think that Al Sharpton should choose as his vice president Reverend Jesse Jackson. So I see Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson as leading black America and leading America. So what do you think about that?
Well, Rock, I think that would be a good choice for black America. It would be a good choice for a black country. It would be a good choice for a separate black state. I think in reality that separation of the races may become fast and faster in the ensuing years, but we're not there yet. I think it's going to be down between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I think that between those two, it's a clear choice for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump represents the interests of nationalists everywhere. And Hillary Clinton is the typical globalist operative, just like you had the Bush globalist and the Romney globalist, and you had the Bill Clinton globalist. And so the epic battle is now going to be between globalism and nationalism. And the Al Sharptons of this world, they would promote nationalism. So in that sense, we find a convergence of interest.
Okay, yes. Donald Trump is a smart man. I'm not the enemy of Donald Trump. When I was in high school, I was the graduation speaker. And during my graduation speech, I talked about two men who happen to be white. One is Sam Walton, who's the founder of Walmart, and the second is Donald Trump. because I'd read his book, The Art of the Deal. And that book, I read that book maybe 3 or 4 times when I was in high school. So I owe a lot to Donald Trump. However, I think he made one mistake, and that was choosing Mr. Pence to be his vice presidential candidate, because I think Pence is a little bit too far to the right. Donald Trump is very much in the center, and I can support Donald Trump as a white man. But I think this man, Pence, he scares me a little bit. He's pro-life, he's against LGBT, he's a religious fanatic maybe, I don't know. He makes me a little nervous, but I like Donald Trump.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. Traditionally, vice presidents have not been very influential. Take a look at Joe Biden. He hasn't done anything in the last 8 years. Of course, you had Spiro Agnew, who was the vice president under Richard Nixon, and he was a mean bulldog, and he did an awful lot. I think you're going to see Vice President Pence as being just more in the background, going to funerals, and maybe help guide President Trump through the labyrinth of politics and Capitol Hill. So I think that he is a fine choice from anybody's perspective, and I personally think he was a good choice for Donald Trump. But I think that the deeper issue is, why do you, as a black man, support Donald Trump over that of Hillary Clinton, who Hillary Clinton has the support of most blacks, to my understanding?
You know, just before I got on this broadcast, I watched Hillary Clinton's speech to the NAACP. That's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And Hillary Clinton did a good job, because Hillary Clinton, the thing about her is she's comfortable around black people. When she gave her speech, there was a black lady who introduced her, and Hillary Clinton embraced the lady, kissed her on the cheek. She talked about police brutality. So Hillary Clinton is very comfortable around black people, and so is Bill. You know, Bill likes to laugh and hug black people and kiss them on the cheek. So they, on the surface, they seem to be very pro-black. It's just that Donald Trump comes across more as a Reagan-esque leader, because America is really becoming weaker on the global stage. You got things going around like terror, like ISIS, the Islamic State. And I feel that Barack Obama has been a little bit too weak. So we need a strong leader who will stand up to Islamic terror, who will talk about radical Islam, who will stand firm. Now, I'm not against Hillary Clinton. She's not a bad choice. But I just think that at this stage, Donald Trump is a strong, firm leader. Now, before I turn it over to you, there's one thing I wanted to mention that's new. I want to propose to Donald Trump a Back to Africa initiative. I want Donald Trump as president to allocate billions of dollars so that black Americans can return to Africa. Because we've got police brutality, we've got discrimination. A black person can't even rent an apartment because they won't rent to a black person. So that's a sign that black people need to return to Africa. So I've got this Back to Africa initiative, and I hope that President Trump will allocate billions of dollars so that we black people can return to our homeland.
Okay, Barack, that is going to be the excellent topic of our next debate and discussion, because I've been involved with the Back to Africa movement for probably since you were just a little kid. And I worked a lot with the successor of the Marcus Garvey movement. I also worked with a group called the Cosmopolitan Brother Association, whose mantra was 40 acres and a mule. Lincoln offered us 40 acres and a mule and a ticket back to Africa. So I think that our next discussion, we should definitely talk about that, because that is a concept whose time is just now becoming acceptable to more and more people within the black community. It's not yet acceptable within the white community, but it's something that we can discuss and make it acceptable.
I agree with you 100%. And I don't think that black nationalists and white nationalists need to be enemies. This is not a war between black nationalists and white nationalists. I think we have a common enemy, and that's the integrationists, the people who want to mix the races. We want to stand apart. I want black people in Africa.
All right, on that note, I was told by the engineer that we need to keep these debates short because that generates the most interest and viewership. So let's end it right here. This is our inaugural show, and we will continue and talk about these things more later on.
Okay, so there you have it. I did not want to splice that up, and I don't plan on splicing these videos up. I'm just going to post them as is. Now, something I hope to do as we move forward a little bit is to get public officials and other guests to appear with them. We will have a difficult time getting public officials from Luzerne County and from Hazleton to appear with these guys because they will not want to admit that we have racial problems. Luzerne County's mantra is to not admit the existence of a problem. If you do not admit the existence of a problem, if you deny the existence of a problem, you then don't have a problem. Still, the United States is a very big place, and the world is a very big place, and I believe that in the coming weeks, we will begin to have guests from around the country, and I also think that we will probably end up having some international guests. We will probably have a lot of retired public officials who feel more comfortable speaking in this kind of forum because they are retired and they don't have to deal with the political backlash they otherwise would have to deal with. So thank you very much, and I plan on bringing more of these videos to you.